If you sneak inside your mind, you'll see it's like being in a room full of shouting voices. And no matter how much you achieve, those voices don't go away. And I get it, because I too used to think that success was the answer to having peace of mind. But all success did was create more chaos inside of my mind. So how did I finally get my mind to shut up or to silence? That's exactly what I'm going to get to in this video. The first thing is that we've all been taught that the mind is an insanely powerful tool, which it is when it is used intentionally. The power of the mind is so immense. You can build empires, you can build countries, you can solve all kinds of problems when the mind is used intentionally. And because of this belief that the mind is this powerful tool, we have bought into the idea that we need to constantly be figuring out. And that is what is happening all of the time. The mind is in this constant state of trying to figure everything out. And what is it trying to figure out? And so the mind left unchecked in this state of figuring everything out is the greatest source of our suffering. If you think about why you're suffering, it's about the things that you cannot get out of your mind. You have to have that difficult decision to make. You have to have a difficult discussion with somebody. Should you go on this path or should you go on this path? This is the source of endless suffering. And in order to step out of that, we have to get to the root of why the mind is making all this noise in the first place. And so in order to understand why the mind is the way it is and why it is just never ending talking to us, we have to understand exactly what the voice inside of our head is. And that is essentially the ego. And the ego is just our sense of I. It is who we think we actually are. But the reality is we are something greater. And because of the fact that we're something greater, we have the ability to observe what the mind is telling us most. And once you begin to take this observation and you begin to listen to what the mind is saying, you're going to notice one thing about the mind, and that it has one essential function, which is to protect you or keep you safe. And this is how we survived. We needed this ego. We needed this voice inside of our head to protect us from death, to protect us from situations where we could possibly be harmed. This is why the ego was created, was to protect the body, was to protect the mind. And so now that we are living in this safe world, the ego is still going to work to protect us from all sort of emotional pain. And so this emotional pain that we are avoiding through the mind's protections is the source of all of our suffering. For example, constantly thinking about the future is the mind's protection from avoiding the pain of your current state, which may be not good enough, less than, not having enough, not being able to pay your bills. So the mind is thinking about how you're going to get out of it by constantly projecting you into this future where everything is perfect because you've achieved everything that you've ever wanted to achieve. The mind gives you the space to not feel the pain of your current situation, which is, you suck essentially, right? And so the pain of you suck, the mind has protected you from the pain of sucking by constantly projecting to the future. And so one thing that I want to point out to you is that there is nothing out there that you can add to solve for what is going on inside. The problems that were created from within, and they need to be solved from within. So there's no amount of success or thinking or accomplishments that is going to change that. So if you want to create real change, we have to do the solving from within. And that's exactly what we're going to get into in this next part. So the good news is that just by having the awareness that the mind is protecting you, you've already taken like a really big leap, because most people never even actually create this awareness. So when you can start stepping back from the mind, what you're going to do is, like, with that awareness, you are going to begin silencing your thoughts or quieting your thoughts. And in that awareness, you're going to move more into the present moment. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says that in the present moment, the unknown is revealed to us. And this is exactly what I've been using in my businesses for the last 20 years. This is why I was able to stay on the crest of the wave of creativity, where all my competitors are always playing catch up and they're always asking me, like, what is it that you're doing? And it's because I've learned to quiet the mind so I can plug into infinite intelligence, God, source power, whatever it is that you want to call it, where I get these downloads. And we've all received these downloads. Like, one of the ones I love is like shower clarity. It's like you always have your best ideas in the shower. And why is that? It's because for 1 millisecond, you got plugged into the present moment and you received a download. You saw an entire business concept. You saw exactly what you needed to do in an instant. It would take you pages and pages to write out what you saw in an instant. And that was because you were completely present. So when we're completely present, we get tapped into that universal power, which is this amazing tool to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. We are trying to achieve from our limited circle of what we know, which is the mind. And when you get present, you get connected to the unknown. And then what you can achieve is essentially unlimited and probably even greater than what the mind created for you to be able to achieve. So what is the next step? Well, one is awareness. We created awareness that the mind is protecting us. And then the next question is, well, what is the mind protecting us from? So the real easy way to do this is to use this idea called the container method, which is something that I kind of coined. And what you'll see is that the mind is telling you the same thing over and over again. So let's just give me an example. If you're fearful of failure, the mind will come up with hundreds of thousands of thoughts about avoiding the pain of failure. It may look like an over preparation for a meeting because you're fearful that you're going to look stupid and fail. It may look like working endless hours and thinking about all of the things that you need to do, replaying your checklist over and over again to make sure that you never miss a beat so you don't have to experience the pain of failure. If you start to realize this, you'll see that the mind is only really protecting you from about 3 to 5 major things. And what you can do with those 3 to 5 major things would be to label them as a container. So maybe one container is a fear of failure. Maybe one container is the embarrassment of looking stupid. I'm trying to think of my own containers. One container is the pain of rejection, right? And the tools that you use to not feel that rejection. So once you have these containers kind of set, when you catch a thought about not wanting to fail, like over preparing for a meeting, you can say, oh, what am I so worried about here? Oh, this is the fear of failure, right? And you put it into that container. And just by doing that method, you're going to see that these hundreds of thousands of thoughts or tens of thousands of thoughts that you're having every day, they're really only about 3 or 4 things. And now we can go to work in solving for those 3 or 4 things. And so it's easy to understand like this. It's like, let me explain it in an example. I was in Costa Rica once and I was surfing, and on day 1 of surfing, I was sitting in the water and every single thought that I had was about sharks. I thought I was going to get bit by a shark or eaten by a shark. My mind was racing. No matter how much I observed it and I connected it even to the fear of death, I could not shut the mind off. But then on day 2, as I began to lean into this fear and recognize that I would be okay in death, and from just being exposed to being in this thing, being in the fear, there was less thoughts. By day 3, less. By day 4, less. By day 5, I wasn't even thinking about sharks. I was just waiting for the next wave. And sure, every now and then, maybe a shark thought would pop in, but it was because I allowed myself and had the courage to sit in the thing that I feared most, which was a shark coming to eat me and kill me. And eventually the mind shut up because it recognized that I was okay in that space. And that's essentially what we want to do with any of these thoughts. So one of my big things was like the shame of not having enough throughout my life. And this created Dave the Entrepreneur. This is where Dave the Entrepreneur was born. And that led to millions of thoughts throughout the course of my life about getting more. And that was all a protection to avoid feeling the shame and the embarrassment that I experienced as a kid from not having enough. Once I allowed myself to sit in that shame, once I allowed myself to be in that shame fully, the mind no longer needed to protect me from it. And now that the mind recognized I'm okay in shame, it could turn off all of its protections, which was millions and millions of thoughts throughout the course of my life. Imagine the space that was created in my mind once I kind of removed an entire container. And this is exactly what is possible for you. So what does it look like? You catch a thought. You maybe are thinking about the future and you say, well, why am I thinking about this current destination? Because once I get there, I'll be happy. Oh, okay. That means you're not happy right now. What is it that is making you not happy right now? Oh, I feel like I'm a loser and I'm not making enough money. Oh, what does it feel like to be a loser? And you just turn towards that pain. Instead of allowing the mind to protect you through this projection to this place where you are safe, allow yourself to feel the pain of being a loser in this moment. If you want to go even deeper, what you could do is you could ask yourself, when's the first time you remember experiencing that? And then you could go back to him or her, that past version of yourself, and you could sit with them and you could say, how are you feeling right now? If you could get connected to that original incident, to that root pain, and you could allow yourself to feel it fully and show the mind that you're okay there, then the mind's protections will diminish or greatly reduce or even be completely eliminated. This will create space. This will get you plugged into the present moment. This will keep you on the crest of the wave of creativity. This will tap you into the abundance that exists for every single one of us and the flow and the ease of life. And so this is what I've dedicated my life to, because every time I clear one of these containers, my life just gets dramatically better because I'm more present. The other thing that you have to realize is that the mind has been protecting us from pain before we're even conscious that the mind was doing what it was doing. And so we have essentially forgot how to feel. And this is where learning how to reconnect to feelings is going to be difficult, because the mind is going to be like, no, we're not going there. Like, I've spent my whole life protecting you from this pain, and now you're telling me that you want to feel feel it, the mind will not go down without a fight. And so when you notice these thoughts and you slowly lean towards the pain that you're avoiding, what will end up happening is the moments from your past will begin coming out of your subconscious and into your awareness so that you can heal from them as well. We are essentially showing the mind that we are okay in the thing that it thought would kill us. And because of that, the mind will then silence. This is how you move out of a place of constant thinking, which is probably the source of all of your suffering. This is how you move to a space of flow. And this is what I've dedicated my life to helping other people see, because it changed my life and I want to help other people change their life. So if you're interested in living a life free from suffering, if you're interested in living a life of flow instead of force, if you're interested in living a life of abundance, if you're interested in living a life of freedom, this is all possible. And this is what I'm dedicating my life to, is moving into these higher states of consciousness. And this is what I'm experiencing. And so if you're interested in doing all that, just like and subscribe so you see more content just like this, because I'm releasing all kinds of great stuff.